start this episode. This is our new weekly breakdown / review of the Halo TV series. So we will be spoiling heavily. So if you have not started Halo, I would recommend turning this off immediately. We're doing episode 1 right now, but this will be at the beginning of every episode. So obviously, as episodes go on, just pay attention to which episode it is. And if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend turning this off, because we'll be breaking down each episode and reviewing it, and also speaking about the Halo games. So if you are wanting to play the Halo stories or the Halo campaign and care about the stories, I'd recommend not watching or listening to these either. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode here. Welcome to the Current Backloggers for another review / discussion of the Halo TV series. I'm here with my friend Cal. I'm your host, Case P. Did that a little bit different this time. Felt weird.
Yeah, that was backwards. That was strange. You know, one day I'm going to do the intro.
Oh, that's fine by me, especially if I keep just butchering it like that.
We got to switch it up now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what caused that. It hasn't been too long since we recorded or anything. It happened. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, this episode was a little weird.
Yeah. How's it going before we get into the episode?
Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I'm watching a ton of basketball.
How's that going?
Madness. That's what it is.
It is that time, eh?
Yeah. Ohio State got the 10 seed.
Yep.
In the tournament. Play Iowa tomorrow, 6:30.
What do you think the odds are that they win the tournament, as in the Big Ten tournament?
I don't think they can beat Purdue again. But if Purdue somehow gets upset by somebody, which is possible because the Big Ten's crazy,
yeah, then
I think they have a shot. You can beat anybody. They can beat anybody. They have a lot of talent. So,
yeah, I think. Obviously, I think the odds are against them. I don't think it's impossible. But I ask because I think it's a little crazy how big of underdogs they are. I know you do some sports betting. Have you seen how big of underdogs they are?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, 3,500 or plus 3,500. So $5 got you like $180. But the issue I'm having and how they get you, I'm like, that's a good amount of money. But if I do like 20, then but then that's how they get you as well.
I was thinking about putting 20 on it just because you never know.
Yeah.
And tournaments are weird.
Yeah.
Like Ohio State's playing really well. They weren't great during the season, but the last 6, they've won 5 out of 6. Beat 3 quad 1 teams. Maybe it's 2 quad 1 teams. Well, it's Purdue, Michigan State, and Nebraska. So, yeah, 3 quad 1 teams and then 2 quad 2.
Yeah.
So, playing well.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of basketball, you mentioned last week Boston. I was talking about Cavaliers. Like I said, basketball is the sport I follow the least, but didn't realize they were playing each other as we were recording. And
yeah.
The 20-point comeback. I was like, wow, that was crazy. We were both talking about these teams, and that happened. I know it's probably sad for you, but...
Yeah, it was, but, I mean, it happens. Regular season.
Yeah.
See in the playoffs if they meet what happens.
Yeah, hopefully they don't pull a Cleveland. This is the only Cleveland team I support, well, aside from the Monsters, but that's minor league, and that's because of Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
And that's just because we don't have a team, and neither does Cincinnati. So kind of my team by default, but in the back of my mind, they always Cleveland it. Like last year, they were very good, and then I think got swept in the playoffs.
I think it was 4-1 against the Knicks, but they were the 4 seed versus the 5, and usually that goes to 7. And I think I had a bet on it to go to 7 games, and I was like, they're going to get swept. Yep. They looked awful whole series. So I don't know. I know they have some injuries right now, but they're still playing really well.
Yeah.
Despite that, Boston's the first team to 50 wins this year, so I'm a happy person right now.
Speaking of sports news, kind of crazy news here. Did you hear about Aroldis Chapman today?
No, didn't.
He was trending, and he hasn't been that relevant where he'd be trending in a few years.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
And everybody's commenting on how he's only touching 70 now. And I was like, this guy that was consistently throwing 100, I know he's getting older, but I don't think he'd fall off that much.
Yeah.
And then I figured out why they were saying it. It wasn't to do with his pitching. There's a video that's definitely real, because I was going to say it came out, but he posted on his own story and deleted it, of him on the couch with a senior citizen, smiling from ear to ear and cuddling with her and grabbing her tits.
Oh.
And, if that's not already weird enough, he's also, I don't know his age, but what, probably 30s, low 30s, mid 30s maybe?
Maybe mid 30s.
Yeah. So quite the age gap, which that's weird in itself, and then to post it on your story. But whatever, to each their own. It's not illegal, or, I mean, it's weird, but there's not anything actually wrong with it.
Yeah.
But where it gets 100 times weirder is people are pretty confident it's his mom, because the video, the girl looks pretty similar to his mom. That, like, pictures that he's taken with his mom.
Oh my gosh. That's not a good reason to be trending.
And then those only touching 70, I was like, oh, it's a joke because he's only touching 70-year-olds.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I did not see that. That's lovely sports news.
Yeah, unfortunately, a former Red there. And, I mean, up until this, it was unfortunate because he was so good and the Reds couldn't keep him because they're the Reds. But now it's unfortunate in a different way, but I guess a good thing that we don't have it. And the Pirates just signed him recently, so very Pittsburgh-like.
Yeah, that feels like a Pittsburgh move. Which, there's a lot of free agency stuff going on in NFL.
Yeah.
Patrick Queen from the Ravens signed with Pittsburgh, and I follow this Ravens account. I don't know why I follow it. It's just fun to troll them when they lose. But they were just burning their Patrick Queen jerseys immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, jeez. Like, he just wanted money. That's all he wanted. I mean, I get it. It's a rivalry, but
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's like Ohio State's running back coach today is leaving for Michigan. So, yeah, it's crazy, and I wouldn't do that with something I bought, but at the same time, I get it. Mentally, I get it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? You going to Michigan? Especially at a time when everybody's leaving Michigan.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, I was like, dang, they move on quick. They were like, we're burning that jersey.
Yeah.
Fuck Patrick Queen.
One more thing, unless there's anything you really want to say about sports, so we can get into Halo and maybe get the sports podcast going that I've talked about like 100 times.
I feel like we have to. There's too much stuff going on in the sports world.
How do you feel about Russell Wilson with the Steelers?
They'll go 9-7
You think
1,
so?
And he'll still say, "Let's ride."
I know I don't mind the jokes. I think they're funny. But I've seen a lot of people say that it's going to be a disaster. I don't see any way. I mean, I thought the Steelers would be bad last year, and they made the playoffs.
With some bad quarterbacks.
I would say, yeah, not just bad quarterbacks, but I would say terrible quarterbacks. And on top of that, no consistency at quarterback, which is a big part of quarterback play. So I don't see how adding somebody that had a good year and has so much experience is going to make you a worse team.
No, there's no way he can be worse than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's awful. He's a bottom 5 quarterback.
The best meme I saw, like I said, I still actually like Russell Wilson. I know a lot of Broncos fans don't like him. I get it just because the failure of what happened. But and I also think there's just an extreme amount of hatred to him. I've talked about before. The meme stuff is funny, and he is cringier than probably anybody in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. I think it's funny as shit. But I think it says something about society that, aside from just like fun joking and like picking fun, that people hate him, like genuinely hate him, more than somebody like Deshaun Watson. I feel like that says a lot about society, that you hate somebody more because they're corny and by all accounts seems like not just a good person, but like a upstanding person.
Yeah. Than
somebody seems like a all but known rapist. And even if he somehow isn't, he seems just kind of like an asshole, but somehow society hates the guy that is corny more.
Yeah, really weird.
Yeah.
I hate Deshaun Watson.
Oh, me too.
I want him to fail so badly. I don't hate Russell Wilson at all. I'm in the minority on that. I just think he's weird.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely is. Did you see his interview with Brandon Marshall? It was like an hour and a half, and I feel like that he's so positive that people can't handle it. Brandon Marshall, probably 5 different times on podcasts, like, just give me, I know you're a good guy, and I know you are, I know you, it's not fake, but give me like one scenario where you feel like you didn't live up to that, and you just went off or had a moment, and he's like, nah, man, just kept being positive. This must drive people insane. But the best meme I saw, getting back to that, was said Russell Wilson's going to win his first game in Pittsburgh and then walk up to the podium and say some shit like, Steele got it.
Oh, I saw that one, yeah.
I was like, God, I hope he sees that and does that and plays off like he doesn't know that that's an inside joke now.
Oh, that would be so funny. There was like some Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson memes, too, that were really great. Cause
I'm kind of sad. I feel like there's not going to be much cringiness. I got this weird feeling it's just going to be kind of normal, and that's not going to happen, which is a sad thing.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin will be really mad if he keeps the cringe going.
Oh God! All right, should we get into this episode?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm ready.
All right. Right before we do, just because this is relevant to Halo, last episode, I forgot to mention, so I wanted to bring it up. How do you feel about the CG in the show? I know how we said it was getting better. I don't know if I'm being too critical or not. I feel like there's certain points that just look a little weird to me, or a little off, or not great.
There are definitely some scenes I'd have to look and find them, but I know there are some moments where I'm like, that was a little weird. That didn't look great. Yeah. But then there's other times where it looks amazing.
Yeah, if you listen to our regular podcast, Current Backloggers, I say all the time, because Cody, he's like a snob when it comes to CG. He's all practical guy.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the middle. I get practical and it holds up better. I think it's cool, but I also get how much harder it is and why companies don't do it. But I also think CG has done a lot for movies that practical wouldn't have done. And I also don't notice, unless CG is horrendous, I don't usually notice it like he does. I'm like, oh, what's fine with me? He's like, oh, that thing was, I couldn't even watch it. So I'm not a snob. That's why I'm wondering if some of these scenes are bad, or maybe I'm noticing more because I'm paying so much attention because it's Halo.
Yeah, some are bad. I guess I'm not as much of a snob about it.
Yeah.
Because, I can ignore bad CGI if other things are good.
Yeah. I think it just stands out to me, too, because I feel like last season, we were talking about how it was real bad at the beginning of the season and appeared to be getting better, which that somewhat makes sense because maybe they're learning how to use it, and as the series goes, assuming they're filming in order, I guess some shows film out of order, so it wouldn't make any sense if they did that.
Yeah.
But you would think now with a season behind you, more production behind it, more money behind it, that it would only be getting better, and it just seems inconsistent, which doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of how the episodes are so inconsistent. Yeah. It's kind of on brand for the show to be inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
All right. Well, I just wanted to bring that up since I forgot. This is episode 6, Onyx, coming in just under 54 minutes.
And it's not the Pokemon Onyx.
That's right.
For all you Pokemon fans that saw the episode title and were like, is Onyx in the show? He's not.
With some of the things they just made up in the show, that wouldn't be too outrageous, though.
Yeah, just combine the worlds.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum shows up with an Onyx to save the day. That's the podcast.
There you go.
All right. So we were wondering about all these suits last week, and we get some answers kind of right away.
Yeah.
Perez is in a suit, and it looks cool. I liked it. It was a cool suit.
No, I agree.
It's Assault Unit Javelin, and they are jumping out of a ship. It's a really cool scene. They're in space heading towards a Covenant ship, and the Covenant start firing at them. A few of them get killed. You're just kind of floating in space and getting plasma shot at you, so a few would die.
Yeah, they're going towards the Phantom, the Covenant ship you mentioned.
Yeah. And
this scene felt very Halo 2 when he's going through and diving with the bomb in space, and felt cool.
Yeah, it's a good scene. And they plant an explosive on the outside of the ship to get inside. And they start this massive firefight with a bunch of Covenant troops. And they get to this command part of the ship. And one of the I'm assuming the commander of the crew, Mullins, is her name. She gets hit with a needler and just dies.
Yeah, this happened. I had a note on this. Why does this happen again? It was a single needle. I don't know what these needles are. There is like snipers that are like have the same needle effect, but they haven't shown any in this show, so you can only assume it's a needler. And like I said, it was kind of dumb, but it made a little more sense with when it happened to Vanek, because you could just say he got stabbed in the heart and he wasn't wearing his armor, but this one was literally one shot and blew up and dead. I was like, it's not how the needler works.
They changed how the needler works, because it's just one and just,
yeah.
And it's a big explosion. Like,
yeah.
It's not like a tiny thing. It's like they're dead. And this person had armor on, so I don't know what they're doing with that. But,
yeah, I don't like it.
So they have like this spike thing that they're inserting into the ship, and then we realize it's actually a simulation, because I'm pretty sure Perez gets shot, maybe?
Yep, correct.
So Perez gets shot. It's a simulation. Kai walks in and says that they are all dead again, so they just all suck at being Spartans. Kai starts explaining like the Covenant ships, because of their shielding, that they lose 3 to every 1 Covenant ship, which is terrible odds. You don't want to be on the losing side of that. And Perez and Kai don't like each other at all. Perez tells Kai that like this is bullshit and that the rounds came out of nowhere, and then Kai's just kind of like, war's random, do better.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Their relationship's weird, because it's kind of seems like they don't like each other, but it seems kind of forced. I don't really get why they don't like each other.
Yeah, Kai's just mad about something, apparently.
Yeah, this is also a scene. I should have wrote down the first part, but I think Kai says something like, we're going down like bees, talking about the people in the simulation. And I don't know if you remember this line of dialogue. It stood out to me because the delivery was so weird. There's a random Spartan, well, Marine, whatever you want to call him, his helmet was off. And he says, "So we're bees now, huh?" And just the way he delivers it, I was like, what the, whoa, where, why, what is this? There's just so many lines like that in the show that I'm like, why didn't you like do a retake of that, or what made that a good take there to you?
Yeah, like why were they like, let's keep that part? Yeah. I noticed it. I ignored it in my notes because I was like, that was so bad.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, that happened. This conversation keeps going. Like they walk out of the room, Kai and Perez, and Kai basically is like, we're not equals. And I was like, damn, straight to the point. And Perez goes at her with this really low blow about her not being on reach. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so like you did not have to even say that. So they just both don't like each other at all.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's really low. Like, you're clearly not equals. Kai could like punch you once and you'd probably die. And you're just out here like, you're just mad because you weren't on reach.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little ridiculous.
No, I'm with you.
That's pretty much that scene. Kind of shows us what Kai's doing. She's training a bunch of people to become Spartans.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't, later in this episode, she doesn't seem like she's really that enthusiastic with it, because she knows they're not close to Master Chief or any of Silver Team.
Yeah. Actually, I'll get to it later. There's something throughout these scenes, but kind of it will make more sense later, so I'll talk about that then.
Okay, so unless do you have more on that scene or?
Nope.
Okay, so next scene, we got Parangoski again, our favorite ramen loving general. And she just has a bunch of posters of Master Chief. She's clearly a fan, has every edition of his posters. Her and Ackerson are having tea together, and she's talking about this tea, and Ackerson's like, okay, what's the point of this? She has a reason for it, because she ordered them to grab these tea leaves or something. Yeah. It's like a side mission while they're in the middle of war, and she's just like, go get me these tea leaves. And I was like, this is on brand for her. This is the type of character she is. The ramen scene, and now this tea scene. I think Ackerson says this, but a ship came into their airspace like an hour ago. Mm-hmm. And this is the important part of the scene. The tea part was just there.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
And it was 15 kilometers from where they are, and Ackerson's just like, send a team. And there's been sightings of Halsey and John. And Ackerson's like, no, they're dead. Which, Ackerson, I feel like, just likes to trick people into thinking different things, because he did this to Master Chief the first, 3 episodes, where he was like, the Covenant don't exist. They're not here. And now he's just like, John's dead.
Yeah.
And doesn't actually have evidence of that, because he wasn't there on Reach. And he basically just does the same thing, but I think Parangosky is like, well, people are reporting sightings of a very large, scarred man, which can only be Master Chief, because he's, insanely tall and massive. So I was like, he's doing the same thing. He's just like, no, he's not alive. And I thought it was pretty dumb.
Yeah, no, for
his
sure.
strategy is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So then after this conversation, well, there's John looking at the base, and then we get the intro.
Yeah. The intro is kind of going back, not just last episode, but this season, because I went back to watch something from the prior season, and I meant to say this with the first episode when you're like, and this music that we love comes in with the intro. I don't remember that being the thing in the first season, and it wasn't. They used, because I felt like we criticized that, they used a generic song that's not from Halo at all, and the one they use in this current season is literally from Halo, but but it's at least sounds like Halo. I thought that, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm making that up, but the intro has definitely improved this season, so I give them that.
I didn't even realize it was different.
You should go watch it, and I think the graphics, not the graphics in video game sense, but the graphics they show of Master Chief and everything look a lot better as well. But yeah, the song's much better.
Oh yeah. It calms me a little bit before we get into interesting stuff. So this next scene, we got Kai in a simulation this time, fighting some Covenant, and Ackerson pauses the simulation. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, I can't sleep. And Ackerson's like, you're punishing yourself for not being on Reach, which, I mean, that's kind of normal to do, because she thinks that the rest of the Silver Team died on Reach, which Ackerson loves to lie. She is also in this scene saying that all the troops are failing the exercises, they're doing awful in these simulations. And Ackerson just wants them all to be like Master Chief and the other Spartans. And she's basically like, well, that's not possible. And he's just like, no, it is. So he's I don't understand his goal of just telling people the opposite of what they think, because that's what he keeps doing. He's just
mind control.
Yeah, it's just like, Master Chief's not alive. They're like, we just saw him. He's not there. And I just think it's so weird, how he's going about it.
Yeah.
You would think if he wanted Master Chief to be dead, that just kill him yourself.
Yeah.
Then you can say he's dead, but he wasn't there on Reach. He doesn't know if he survived. I just think it's ridiculous. Obviously he wanted to get rid of Master Chief, but he didn't actually do anything to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And I think it's dumb.
Oh, no, I'm with you.
So that's basically that scene. Not too much there.
No, I think you covered it.
And next, we're back to our favorite crew that includes Quan Ha now. Halsey, Quan Ha, Soren, Soren's wife, and John. And I will always call Soren's wife. I'm never going to learn her name. just for everyone out there. I just don't care about her. So she's going to be Soren's wife.
There you go.
The rest of the podcast.
Hey, that's fine. We only got a little bit left anyway, sadly.
Yeah, until season 3. So Halsey tells Soren and Soren's wife that she knows where they took Kessler, which I don't know how she would know that, but Halsey just knows things. That's what I've learned from the show. Halsey just knows things. And then Soren goes out and talks to John, and I'm assuming Onyx. Have we been to Onyx before in the show?
Not that I remember.
Okay, I didn't think so either, but I know we went to a planet where John was as a child, so I didn't know if it was the same planet. It probably wasn't.
I don't think so, because I feel like I might be pulling a Ackerson right here, but I feel like I can think of like the other planet in my head, but I can't think of it. I don't think it's that, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. So they're on. Well, according to this conversation, John and Soren have been here before.
Yeah.
Because they look at the base and, well, Soren says they have Kessler, and then they look at the base, and John is like, they're still making Spartans. So I'm assuming this is where you go for Spartan training.
Yeah.
So that's what I got kind of out of that scene.
Yeah, which, I don't know if you saw it. I guess it'd be a good time to talk about Trevor, we mentioned on here. Did you see his comment on last episode?
No.
He said, also, this is before watching the next episode, but in the book Ghost of Onyx, I believe is what it's called. It is. You're correct, Trevor. It has a similar plot of a former Spartan pull-off from the group, and then they think he's missing in action, but he arrives on Onyx and becomes a mentor for a new generation of Spartans. He said, I think this is the direction it could go, which that is one of the books I've not read but listened to, because that's usually how I do my books.
Yeah.
And that is correct, and I was thinking of that. I've talked about on our normal podcast, Current Backloggers. I like listening to books, but it's probably the thing I follow the worst. I like movies, shows. I just have a hard time with it. I think it's cool, but then I couldn't tell you everything that happened like I could a movie or show. But what he says is correct, so I should have thought of that when I saw the title of this episode. But I feel like they did that intentionally to try and make people think that and then take it kind of a different path, because as we see in this episode, it's a little different. But I just thought it'd be a good point to mention that comment.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe they did pull from that.
Yeah. I feel like they did, and then kind of did an alternate version to make people think that it was going to be that.
Usually do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So basically, that scene, John and Soren are talking. They're going to go separate ways because, well, this is later actually. There's a scene in between here with our favorite character of this show, Kwan Ha. She's still looking for this old lady.
Yep.
And actually, all of this is happening at the same time, so there's not really like a big cut because it's all in the same area.
Yeah.
Kwan's looking for this old lady that somehow can speak to her. Not sure how, besides she's the protector in Kwan Ha. Halsey's missing, which was weird because they just talked to her and she is gone. But Halsey told them where Kessler is, so everything's fine. They don't care about Halsey anymore. And Soren's wife is like, we gotta go. And then John's like, go get your son. And then there's just this random scene after this. I really had no idea what was happening here. Like, it was so random and put together. I was like, what is going on? But Kwan is being fired at by these random soldiers that just somehow were there.
Unfortunately, they were stormtroopers. I was like, normally like, no, oh God, I hope she makes it. I was like, oh God, just come on, guys. Nobody can shoot accurately.
Like no one could hit her. And then John pops up and just beats the crap out of all of them. And then more just pop up again and they capture him.
Which I think this is another prime example of, well, usually this seems like a good sci-fi show and not a Halo show. This seemed like it'd be a fucking really cool action movie like John Wick, James Bond, something like that, which is cool. But then when you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching a Halo show. Why is this happening?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they capture the Master Chief, and we're back to Soren and his wife. They're just walking up to the base. That's pretty much it. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And then Kwan Ha is still following this old lady, and she falls down a well onto some type of device that keeps her from...
like a gravity pad or something. Again, I was like, couldn't she just fall down there and just splat?
Just die. Like, please. Then Halsey pops out. She's just down there.
Who knows how long she's been waiting.
Yeah, and Kwan's like, where are we? Halsey tells her she used to live here. It's like, okay. So Halsey used to live in a cave, and she's like, this is where everything started, and then starts talking to Kwan about how she blames her for John changing, because before John met her, he used to like follow orders and was like, just a good soldier, and it's Kwan Ha's fault, which I agree. Kwan changed the Master Chief, and our opinion on Halo.
I was gonna say, is he even not just a Spartan, but even a man at that point? Then he's gonna let some little dumb hoe like that change him,
right?
She sucks.
Yeah, she's the worst. But Halsey blames her. She's like, you suck, and everyone that's watching is like, yeah. And that's basically all that scene was. And then we get to more Arbiter content, which is what we all need in our life.
Yeah.
He is marking himself with like a, I don't know the word for it, like a branding thing.
Yeah.
Brand.
Yeah.
Just branding like a symbol on him. And then the Blessed One is talking to this prophet-looking elite.
Yeah, meant to look it up. I don't know. I don't think this guy's from Halo. It could definitely be a book or something, but I don't think he's from the Halo games.
Yeah, he's like an elite monk is what he looks like. And he's talking to the Blessed One. Is like, our communications are broken off with the prophets. He's pretty upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arbiter's like, no, they're not. They're just my orders, so we're not talking to them, basically. And then he starts accusing the Arbiter of being distracted by the Blessed One. And then the priest wants to kill the Blessed One. He, like, whips out this energy sword, but it was smaller than normal.
Yeah, it looks like they just use the same thing that Jackals use, like the energy dagger.
Yeah.
But I don't know why this guy has it or who he is.
So he just whips it out.
Oh!
And Arbiter's like, no, you can't kill her. She's not yours to kill. And it's like, you got to talk to the prophets to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes away. So the Arbiter saved the Blessed One, thankfully.
Yeah. And then, well, I'll tell you in a second. You keep going. Because it happens again.
Okay. Then I think Arbiter leaves.
Yeah.
Because then Cortana starts talking to the Blessed One. And it's like, do you think he knows you're lying? And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to comment on. Does anybody in this show know how to whisper? Because as soon as the priest leaves, I can't remember what they said exactly. I should put it down. But the Arbiter and the Blessed One talk very loudly about their plan right in front. This guy just like 2 seconds away just left, and they're not whispering. And then it's just like a train of it. The Arbiter leaves, and then Cortana's like, what did she say again exactly?
Do you think he knows you're lying?
Yeah, just as loud as could be his footsteps away. Well, now he definitely does. Why isn't anybody whispering?
Arbiter's like, what? We just don't get to see him hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's lying to Arbiter. Poor guy. He deserves better.
Yeah.
So the fake Spartans is what I'm going to call them, because they're not Spartans.
Yeah.
Are going through their simulation again, and it seems like they're getting wrecked, but
yeah.
And they slowly go down one by one, but they spike the ship. So they succeed. They basically actually do what they're supposed to in the simulation. And then they're going to leave, and she asks like where the Covenant are, because it wouldn't be that easy to just walk off a ship. And they win the simulation, and Kai's like, congratulations. But then Perez is like, why was that simulation so easy? And Kai's like, just take the win. So Kai definitely made it easier.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm just going to let them get a W here because they all suck.
This is what I said was going to come up later, though. I'm confused why they were asked where the Covenant were, because I was wondering the same thing in the first 2 simulations. There's all this gunfire, but you never see a single Covenant. There's gunfire. I was like, wait, why are you confused that they're not there? I haven't seen them yet.
Then there were no bodies, I don't think, either. Uh-huh. So invisible Covenant are firing at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I didn't even notice that, but you're right.
I feel like they might say an excuse that it's a simulation, but they're simulating a ton of other things aren't there. So I feel like it was probably a good way to save money, which I feel like the show should do that in a more responsible way of editing out things that don't need to be in there and not adding things that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, they have a really weird way of doing that.
Yeah.
It's so strange. It definitely was to save money, because then you don't have to show these Covenant 5 times in this episode. You just show the blasters being fired. Gosh. So this next scene, soldiers got John chained up, which was, I don't know why they thought they could hold him.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you chain him to like a wall or something? I guess he could just rip the wall off too. But it seemed like a very non-efficient way to imprison Master Chief.
Sure.
I was judging them a little bit, because he's got like 6 guys like holding him with like this rope, and I was like, yeah, they're definitely not gonna hold him down. So then this lady walks in, and apparently we've met her before, because I had to remember she was the person that was there when he was going to look for Cobalt Team.
Yeah.
But she's like, it's nice to see you again. And I feel he has a response, but I didn't write it down.
I don't remember what he says. I even just rewatched it. I don't remember.
But she's like, 11 of my men are injured and 1 may die. And then Chief is just like, well, that usually means they're poorly trained. And I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But then she insults Cobalt Team, because she's like, when we found them, they didn't even get a shot off. And I was like, dang. She just said that he's a bad trainer.
Yeah.
Like, dang. And then he says he's going to like go see Parangoski.
Yeah.
He's mad at her, so he wants to pay her a visit. And then she walks out, and like 2 seconds after she walks out, John breaks out of the chains and then just knocks every single one of the soldiers out in the room.
Whips him with it, pulls him around, goes crazy.
Yeah, and you would think that she could hear it, because she just walked out of the room, but apparently not.
No, well, as we talked about a minute ago, nobody hears anything, no matter how loud you say it, so.
Nope. But apparently this is a recording also, because then we switch to Ackerson, and he's showing this recording to Kai, and Kai's like, Chief's alive?
And he's like, no.
He surprisingly didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I was expecting it like, no, this was a simulation of him or something. But he was like, yeah, but we're thinking he switched sides, basically, is how this conversation goes. So he puts that theory out there, and he's like, are you sure he wasn't acting weird? Like the last time you told me he wasn't. And then she tells him about how John was seeing the Blessed One, and he's like, well, John and her are working together. And then Kai's like, no, that's not true. And he's like, well, give me an explanation of why he's attacking our troops, which, if she knew what was actually happening, then it's because they captured him. But she doesn't have an explanation, because she doesn't know what's going on. She wasn't expecting him to be alive Ackerson probably knew he was alive the whole time.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And then was just like, look, he's attacking us. He's so evil. And Kai's just like really confused, clearly, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like she should ask more questions when eventually she does meet John, but she doesn't. It just kind of goes straight into fighting.
Yeah.
But after this scene, we get back to Cortana talking to the Blessed One. The Blessed One tells her that when she touches the artifact, nothing happens anymore. And then Cortana shows her Halo again. And I'm assuming this is the image from the Blessed One's mind.
Yeah, it seems that way at least.
Because Cortana was saying it was like from her memories.
Yeah.
Or from the Blessed One's memories. Yeah. And the Blessed One doesn't want to see Halo again. She's like, turn it off. She says she can't go there without John, and Cortana says she wants to help, but the Blessed One's like, I don't trust you. So, I don't know if Cortana actually wants to help based on later things that happen, but maybe she does. I don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah. I should have wrote down the line that came before this, but I believe this is a scene where the Blessed One's being very dramatic, and then Cortana has a great line. I don't know if you put this in here, if it's later. I feel like this is a line that anytime a girl's being very overly dramatic, somebody should use, and it'll probably make it a lot worse. But it came from a girl, so I think it's fair. Cortana says, perhaps we should consider rational possibilities. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Don't actually say that. Anyone who's listening, don't do it. You're in for a really bad couple of days after, and possibly sleeping on the couch.
I don't know. I heard it from a girl, so I think she would probably want you to say it.
It's up to you. If you trust Cortana and Casey, then go for it. Just Cortana's AI, so she can just disappear whenever she wants. So the next scene, we're back to John, and he's just walking around the base. That's all that happened.
Yeah.
And then Quan Ha and Halsey back in this cave, and they're talking, and Quan Ha blames the Spartans for, I think, her mother's death.
Yeah.
And Halsey's like, I don't care, basically, is her response, and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, we don't either, so that works.
Yeah, and then there's a wall. There's just a wall there, and Halsey's like, this shouldn't be here. And then Quan sees this old lady again and tells Halsey to go in that direction. And I was like, what is going on right now? I don't know if you were confused, but I was.
No, we were all thinking it when we were watching it.
I was like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, it didn't make any more sense the second time either.
So they're in the cave. Quan knows the way because of this old lady. Then John goes in this room and looks at different security zones. Makes sense because he's trying to infiltrate the base, so he wants to see where everyone's at. And then Kai walks in the room. And the first thing he says to her is, Vanek is dead. And I was like, great way to start a conversation. And then Kai asks about Riz, and he's like, Riz is alive, but not here. And then Kai says she wanted to be on Reach, but had orders. And then he tries telling her the truth about what actually happened, but then Kai is like, no, you're working with McKee. And Kai says she has to take him in. And she puts her hand on his chest, and they just start fighting.
Yeah. It's we can continue.
So then she throws him into a wall, just tosses him.
Yep.
Then she puts her helmet on, and it's like, oh, he's gonna get so wrecked. Like, this is not good, because no armor versus an armored Spartan is not a good matchup. So she puts her helmet on and then punches him. It's pretty brutal. Like, I was like, oh, he's getting destroyed. Then she hits him again, then kicks him in the face. Then she pushes him into the wall and tells him it's over.
Yeah, and there's this dramatic music playing the whole time. I didn't think they were gonna, but with how the show is, in the back of my mind, I was like, if she fucking kills him, I'm done with this show. Because you could, I mean, I didn't think they would, but as we talked about, you could see that, and then she's the new leader. And I was like,
I definitely was a little scared that was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Like, if Master Chief dies in this show, we're not doing the next episode. I hope you're on the same page.
Oh, no, I am. And, I mean, I think we wouldn't at all, but especially if it was some lame-ass way like that, not like he did it to save the world or something and died doing it. Just a dumbass fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I would be done. I'd be like, okay, no more Halo for me. So yeah, she tells him it's over, and Kai wants him to stop, even though he's not really doing anything wrong. Kai just thinks he is. Then she hesitates. Well, okay, so John looks at the camera behind her, and then she does too. And then she hesitates and then hits him again.
Yeah.
Which I think he was like, you're being watched, so you should, like, beat the crap out of me some more.
Yeah.
And then she hits him again.
He says that. He says, you're being watched, so, yeah.
Yeah, so then she hits him again and then looks at the camera, and that's pretty much that scene.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to make this more epic than it actually was. And I don't know how to feel about it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I was expecting it, but not at this point.
Yeah.
It was kind of rushed, I feel like.
Yeah. No,
and she didn't actually, like, get his side of anything. She just believed Ackerson, someone she's known for, like, a week.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, you're working with the Blessed One. I hate you now. Not actually hate, but
yeah.
I gotta bring you in. I gotta arrest you. And I was like, you didn't get all the facts, though. You just assumed. So
he should have said, perhaps we should consider rational possibilities. I think it would have calmed her down. The fight probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah, probably. He didn't even throw a punch, though, at all. He let her beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like he not only could have fought back, but probably killed her, but I think I feel like he probably knew what was happening. That's why he looked at the camera and let her do it, because he was like, you'll figure out the truth. I think that's what he's doing there.
Well, Ackerson will just be like, he lied.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, okay. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So we're back to Ackerson, and he's with our favorite general, Perengoski. And she tells him that Master Chief is gone, but with his memory, they will make 1 million more Spartans. And I was like, okay. How does that even work, though? Because they're not him.
Yeah.
You can't make 1 million random people into Spartans.
No.
I was like, you're so stupid, what dumb general. Go back to your ramen. So then they're in like this command part of the base, and a ship has entered their airspace, and Perengoski is like, everyone get out. And John's just left in this room by himself, even though Kai was like, I gotta bring you in.
Yeah, they were talking about that. Like our friend group was talking about that when we were watching it.
Like, she's supposed to bring him in, and she just left him there. Like, she really just beat the crap out of him and left him. So then Cortana starts talking to Master Chief, and she actually calls him Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone calls him John, I feel like. And finally, she's like, Master Chief. I was like, thank you, Cortana. And at the same time, Cortana is talking to Perengoski, and I think John's like, where are you? And she's like, I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tells him he doesn't look so good, which, yeah, he doesn't look great. And he tries to get up, but it's a struggle after getting, punched into a wall and kicked in the face. And Cortana tells him that something awful will happen if he doesn't get to the Halo ring, because the Covenant are going to find the Halo, and he needs to get there first. She tells him that she is with McKee and Arbiter, and John doesn't like Arbiter, which understandably.
Yeah.
He gives his reasoning. I didn't write it down, but he killed Vanek, I'm pretty sure.
I think that was it. Yeah, I was trying to replay the scene in my head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one that shot Vanek with the needler. That's not a needler. Well, it is, but it doesn't work like one. And then she tells him that there's an artifact on the base and that he's got to touch it. And that she will lead him to it. So then a door opens up and she's going to take him to the artifact.
Which, aside from the obvious fact that, of course, he's not wearing a suit, this all felt like Halo to me, like the non-important dialogue, the way she was talking to him felt like Halo, and then her like controlling the doors and telling him that she was opening it and stuff.
It's always good to see Cortana.
Yeah.
Even the new look.
Yeah.
I don't hate it anymore. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the door opens for him. Cortana is talking to Parangoski. I didn't write what was happening.
Yeah.
It was just a distraction, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then we're back to Halsey and Quan. They're at the cave, and a bunch of people are down there too. And Miranda Keyes, we haven't seen her in such a long time.
Since last season.
So she's down there, and Halsey's pretty mad because she's like, "You stole my research." Miranda's like, "Okay," but they have to use it to like make the Spartan program a thing, and Halsey is not included in that anymore. So I understand why she took her research. Then we're back to Soren and his wife, and she's like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "Thermopylae," and then that scene ends. So just a bunch of random tiny scenes that are going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Along with the John plot. So we're just there. You have anything about those?
No, I don't hear much substance there, so I think you covered it.
Yeah. Everything with Soren and his wife was pretty much very pointless and took up like 3 minutes total of the episode.
Feel the same.
Thermopylae is a reference to Greek history, though. I think that's where the Battle of the 300 took place.
I gotcha.
So that was a cool history reference.
Yeah.
That's about it in that scene that's important. Besides, that's all.
I didn't even know that. I've seen 300. It's awesome, but I haven't seen it, and it's insane to think about. Probably like 15 years now.
Yeah, I have seen the movie. It's very different than if you watch a documentary on it. I remember that from the documentary, which the documentary was really cool too because it went over like their weapons and stuff.
Yeah, no, I figured it was without knowing the real history, I figured it was very Hollywood with how over the top it was.
Yeah. But yeah, the Spartan warriors held off the Persian army for enough time for all the civilians to leave.
Oh, I gotcha. Which Spartans cinematic universe right there.
Oh yeah. So next scene we got Kai running through the simulation again that the Spartan Javelin team ran through, and she's approached by Ackerson again, and she's about to put in the spike to finish the mission. And Ackerson is happy to learn that Javelin team completed the mission, but also with this, did she just left Master Chief and then went to do a simulation?
Yep.
Can we talk about that massive plot hole? But Kai is suspicious about the simulation because there's no ending to it, and Ackerson again is like, the simulation is just to push soldiers and give them hope, and he says that Kai should be proud for giving her Spartans the hope of being great. Then Kai confronts him with the information about Reach that Master Chief told her, and Ackerson admits that he knew the fall of Reach was coming and took action to save the assets that they did. And Ackerson confesses that he's already sent a Black Ops unit to deal with Master Chief.
Yeah.
So, is he just not aware that Kai just beat the crap out of him?
I mean, you'd think he'd be watching those cameras, but yeah.
I was so confused by it. Because you would think, like, Kai's supposed to bring him in. Why did she just leave him there, go to do the simulation? Then Ackerson's like, yeah, we got people going for Master Chief.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me.
No.
It was very out of order. Like, you would think, like, simulation. Then he's like, oh, the Black Ops units are going to deal with him. And then she's like, no, I should go.
Yeah.
Like, that would have made more sense to me.
No, definitely.
So that happened. Ackerson justified his actions also with how Reach went down. So we're back to Master Chief, and he follows Cortana's direction to the artifact. Really amazed by her ability to open doors and handle like intel for him in real time.
Yeah.
And Chief, he likes having his AI partner back and reaches this artifact pretty quickly because of her help.
Yeah.
So cool scene. Finally, some Cortana Master Chief scenes. We've been waiting the entire season for it. And then this next two scenes, is pretty crazy. The end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot in the show where the last 2 minutes is crazy, and then you're like, oh, yay, get to wait 43 minutes next episode for another 2 minutes of crazy.
Yep.
But the suspicious Covenant priest monk guy exposes McKee to the Arbiter after discovering Cortana was the source of the transmission from the ship to the UNSC. And the priest demands the Arbiter do what must be done and kill her. And we're like, oh, is he going to? Is he going to kill her? The Arbiter says that all true believers will stand with him. He then executes the priest's companions, and then there's just a violent battle on the ship.
All energy swords again, too.
Yeah, it was really cool when he was like, all true believers will stand with him, and then he like lights up his sword. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. I'm actually really enjoying Arbiter.
Oh no, he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, like they're doing this very well.
Yeah.
So then he executes. Oh yeah. So he executes. I think he kills the priest too. Kills all his companions. They ain't true believers. He killed them all. And McKee is crawling away from this battle that's happening and approaches the artifact. And as she touches it, Chief touches the one on Onyx, and the connection affects them both like it did in Season 1, where they're both just having orgasms from touching these artifacts, and the episode ends.
So hopefully, I want to be on Halo more than anything, but hopefully we don't get on Halo the same way as before from touching these, where there's these weird-ass, like, romantic teen movies happening inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
I will say right before this, you said how we were so happy that the Arbiter protected the Blessed One at the beginning of the episode. I am selfishly, but story-wise, like I said, I think it'd be cool if he killed her to take over. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think they would, but I was really hoping actually he would kill her and not the priest, because I feel like that would make sense story-wise, and then also be able to have the Arbiter as like the lead, yeah, which I think would be way better. But they're stuck in this fascination that people can't understand things in armor or aliens. To have a connection to them, you have to see their facial reactions every second.
Yeah, and it's just not like that.
Yeah,
I think that could still happen. I think Arbiter is kind of just using the Blessed One, but appearing as an ally.
Hope so.
Because I don't think he trusts humans at all. But he's like, I want to get to the Halo ring, and she's going to take me there. So I have to protect her at this point. I could definitely see him getting to the ring and then just little energy sword. Like, she couldn't do anything to him. He could kill her instantly.
Oh, yeah. Then she could come back to life because we still haven't figured out how she did. But...
yeah. I don't think they're going to explain that unless her and Master Chief meet again and they have another awkward sex scene. Arbiter will be there, and he'll be like, "What the heck is happening?" And he'll go to the Halo ring, and then
he'll whip it out.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe she'll tell Master Chief, "I didn't die," or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
because he's got to be wondering that too. Like, how did you survive? But yeah, that episode. Well, I don't know if you're ready for the hot rankings.
Yeah, I'm ready if you are, and I think I was first last time, so
perfect. This episode was hard to rank for me. It's the same as every episode of the show, where there's some really cool scenes, and then there's stuff where I'm like, what in the world is happening? And then the big plot hole with Kai just beating the crap out of Master Chief and then just leaving and going to do a simulation that was bad. That's just bad writing.
Yeah.
That's not paying attention to what you're doing. I love the Arbiter stuff. I think he only had 3 scenes, but probably the best scenes of the episode.
Yeah.
The Kai scene, I thought they, like with Master Chief, the fight, I thought they wanted to make that really epic and emotional, but it wasn't, based on the music and like how they're playing it. I didn't feel any emotions during it. I was just like, okay, you're just beating him up. Like, that's cool. And I feel like we were supposed to feel something there, and I didn't at all. I don't know if you felt anything, but
no, because it was done weird. The only thing I was really feeling is, like I said, like pre-aggression from if they're gonna kill him off.
Yeah,
I was like, you fucking. So I feel like I was just getting ready to be mad. Yeah, that was about all I was feeling.
I think that's probably where I'm at, and I was just like, what is really going on here?
Yeah.
And then just this Soren, like all those scenes were pointless. The Kwanha Halsey stuff was very confusing as well. It almost felt like filler time in the episode. And I didn't like that. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. 6 Haas out of 10. I liked parts of it, but then it's the same as the other episodes where it just falls short of my expectations. Which 6 isn't horrible, but it's also the average for this entire show is a 6 so far this season.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I agree with almost everything you said, so I won't just repeat what you said. So I'll just try and think of anything different there. This episode didn't have a ton of action, which is not shocking, but I think it did have a good amount kind of spread throughout the episode instead of just one scene at the beginning and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Even though the action was pretty much pointless because it was fake action, because it was simulations.
Yep.
And like I said, kind of a cop-out, and even though it was cool, it was annoying because I was like, you guys aren't fighting anyone, not even just because it's fake, but I'm not seeing anything. But there at least still was action and spread out 3 episodes, which is something I said I think should happen, even if there's not going to be, it doesn't have to be nonstop action and over the top. So I appreciated that. Don't know if there's anything different than what you said. Maybe, I think this episode, again, there were certain parts of CG where I was questioning it. I think one of them, for example, was when he was branding himself. I don't know, there's something that just looks off certain times.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it too much when I was watching it, but I could see how it maybe looked a little different.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's from a game sometimes, which that should be a compliment because they're based off a game. But I mean, like a game looks amazing, but if you place that inside of a show, it's going to look very comical.
Yeah.
So usually that's a compliment, but here I don't think that is. So I will say I feel similar, maybe a little more positive. Well, definitely a little more positive. But not much. I'd say a 6.9 on the Haas.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't think it's nice. Again, I think I said this once before. I think it's on the edge of being really good, but I think these negatives hold it back from that. So I definitely think it's good, and I think on the better end of good, but not quite enough to get to like really good, which is why I consider it like a 7 or higher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so frustrating because it's almost the same pattern.
Yeah.
So it drops my, I don't want to say it drops my expectations, but it's starting to.
No, I get it.
Where I'm like, okay, everything's just going to be a 6. Which I did watch it with an open mind of, oh, it could be a 10. Like, they could just blow my mind this episode.
Yeah.
But it's just starting to be just the pattern of the show is they'll tease something really cool, and then it won't happen, and then it will happen, but it's very underwhelming. Like, even the Fall of Reach, which I was excited for, was underwhelming.
Yeah,
parts of it were cool.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's the highest rated episode. I think I gave it an 8. But it should have been a 10. That's such an easy episode to make a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that should have been an 8.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But hey, not to jinx it, but I know your biggest worry was the Quan Ha episode, and with only 2 episodes left, I don't think you can use one of them on Quan Ha.
Yeah, there's no way. We'll probably, because they merged the storylines, we'll probably just get her and Halsey.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird duo.
Mm-hmm.
And Halsey clearly does not care about Quan Ha at all. And I'm not really sure what that's going to lead to, because, okay, Halsey's down in this cave. Like, was she looking for something? I'm not really sure what she was doing down there, besides maybe trying to get her research, or I don't really know.
Uh-huh.
She was just there. So I'm not even really sure where they go from there, and why is Quan Ha seeing this old lady? We might find out.
Maybe Halsey wants to know what the fuck this demon face is that keeps showing in the cave, and she's trying to find it.
Yeah,
but we probably just won't ever get an idea of what that is.
Yeah, I have no clue. But yeah, 2 episodes left. I'm assuming we're going to see the Halo ring in the last episode, and then we're going to get some massive cliffhanger, and then they're going to be like, wait, 3 years for season 3.
Yeah, I think I said this episode 3 or something. I feel like I said I think it'd be a big action episode 4, which there was, and then almost non-existent action till the last episode, and that seems like where we're heading. I do think next episode will probably be a couple moments of action to keep you there, and then it'll be all out action in the last episode, and then I think I said then, and kind of hope that it ends like heading towards Halo, and then it'll end.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get a lot of Arbiter, though, in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And maybe Arbiter Master Chief fight would be cool in a suit, which he wasn't looking for a suit, though, while he was in the base, which I'm a little disappointed in. Like, are they just going to be like, Ackerson destroyed them, you don't get your armor anymore?
Yeah, I told you that's why it made no sense that he was so upset they didn't have it, because I'm like, why are you upset about something you never use anyways?
Yeah, you never use your armor.
I guess he forgot he cared again.
Probably, yeah. Who knows? I don't really have a ton of predictions besides they're going to see the Halo. They're going to get there at the end of the season. I don't know what's going to happen next episode.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Like I said, I think you'll probably see a couple moments of action with mostly storyline leading up to the season finale. Probably something to hook you at the end of this episode. Season finale, ton of action. And then probably the cliffhanger of seeing Halo, like heading towards Halo at the end.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that we get a 10 out of 10 here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Still really hoping, because, like I said, the highest ranking I've given is an 8.
Yeah.
Which, at the end of the season, I'll average them out and think about when I want to give the whole season.
Yeah.
But
I hear you.
Give us your Ha rankings.
You're always on it.
You could have thought this episode was a 10. Trevor might think it's a 10.
Might change to a 1.
Yeah.
He did also comment that and back it up and give fair reasons. So.
Oh, let me see this. I gotta see what Trevor said.
Yeah, because that's the only point we were making. You're definitely allowed to change your mind, and it's healthy too, but I just don't want people to change their mind based off of other people.
Yeah, don't let us bully you into thinking an episode is worse than you thought, because that's not how I want that to go at all.
Yeah.
People should be able to rank things how they want.
Yeah.
Let's see. What episode was that? The first one that he changed his mind, or was there another one?
It was... Here, actually, I can just let you see. There's a lot easier way to look when you're... have the...
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, so...
Fair point, Trevor. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt this time.
All right. Anything else before we get out here?
But, just do your hot rankings. That's the main point.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone who listens should be doing a hot ranking.
Yes, I totally agree.
We need the comments.
Yes.
And
like,
share,
yeah,
subscribe.
My guy.
You can check out my podcast, too, The Franchise Den. It's on Spotify. I haven't done an episode in like a month, but there's like 100-something episodes that you could listen to if you haven't listened to any.
If I remember, I won't say I will because I could definitely forget, but if I remember, I'll link in the comments description as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can get to it.
Yeah, so Casey will put a link, or I can drop one too.
Yeah, if I don't put in description, feel free to, because that just means I forgot, but I'm going to try and remember.
But yeah, so if you guys want more content, check it out. And then obviously, Casey has other episodes on his channel that you can check out.
Yep, maybe we'll get to the sports podcast sometime this decade.
Oh yeah, we can do a whole podcast on cringy Russell Wilson moments.
We could rank those. We could do hot rankings.
Oh, I would actually do that. That would be funny. But yeah, I think that's it.
All right. So, when I told you that I went back and watched something from last season, I just gotta be honest here, what I was looking up. Somebody posted this picture, which I'll put in here, so if you guys are listening to audio, you might want to switch over to YouTube. This is our good friend Kai. And I was like, I gotta rewatch this scene because I don't remember it. Sadly, I mean, it's a great shot, but sadly, that's all it was. That's why I watched it. I was like, is this gonna be like a whole scene of this?
Yeah, but I don't remember that either.
Yeah, me either. It's like probably 2 seconds you see it, but I think we also didn't quite see the magic of her yet.
No, we haven't at all.
Yeah, and it's even more of a tease that we fucking have seen multiple man asses, and you started to see hers in one of the earlier episodes of last season, and then got to like the butt crack and went away.
I remember
Can't we
that.
repair here?
Because Chief was just standing in the shower.
Yeah. And then the weirder one, I actually thought about mid-episode and almost started laughing, but I didn't think I was laughing at you, was, what's his general's name?
Parangoski.
Or no, not her, from season 1. He's kind of had the Nazi vibe.
Oh, Fincher?
Yeah.
Something like
I was
that?
going to say General Hux, but I know it's Star Wars.
Yeah, that's Star Wars. Same person.
Yeah.
They act similar.
But do you remember his weird-ass scene where he was in that, like...
Oh, like the hot tub thing? Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I remember that. It was like Game of Thrones style.
Yeah, so I think the show in some ways has gotten worse with, like, some of the action scenes, I feel like, were amazing last season. We haven't gotten those.
Yeah, and we even had that one episode with Soren fighting Fincher.
Yeah.
And that was actually not a bad episode.
But in another way, there is stuff that just doesn't exist anymore that I think we're taking for granted. Like that kind of stuff that was like, not just like a cringy second, but like what is going on? Not just like, we said that a couple times this episode, but it was like story-wise, what this kind of done. But some of those older episodes were like, what are you guys creating here?
Yeah.
This is wild. But that's all I wanted to say.
It's good stuff.